But it also means we can get more players to make the game and the community grow much bigger. It comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. So some of them are just a secret layer. For example, SpongeBob and Deathpool in the latest one. And then some of them are just commander deck, like Warhammer 40K. Some of them are small set, like Assassin's Creed, only a set of like 100 cards or so. And some of them are a main set with all main products, like Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy. And we're going to have a lot more coming up in the future. So what is its impact on MTG? So it opens Magic the Gathering to massive new fan bases. Of course, that's a good point. Some format and gameplay shifts. We can debate whether that's a good or bad. Bad points: loss of identity that has been built for so many years. It has, well, if you see this as a bad point, then maybe even more than 25 years. Some of the shift in MTG paradigms, for example, before you can opt out. If you do not like Universes Beyond, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to play it. But from now on, if you somehow love to play Standard so much, if you love to play Modern so much, you have to buy it, because it is going to be in every single format from now on, be it Standard, be it Pioneer, Modern, etc. But last but not least, we still have a good point. It becomes more diverse in both cultural and player diversity wise. So let's dig a little deeper into Universes Beyond. Is it really good or bad? It depends. It is just really up to your preference. But the fact is, there's no going back. We should just say the cat is already out of the bag, and we can't really put him back in. And so what do? We just have to adapt. So Universes Beyond, what are its strengths? First of all, it's much, much, much easier to get new players. I'm not really sure how it's going in your country. You can share with me around the end of the presentation. But it's been so statistically proven that since Universes Beyond, there are so many, many more new Magic players everywhere around the world, be it USA, Japan, Europe, or even us here in Thailand. There are so many new players whenever they are collaborating with new IPs that are really resonating with them. So perhaps we can even expect more new fan base in the upcoming sets like Spider-Man. I'm not so sure about the Avatar Last Airbender, because it's not really, how should I say, it's not really well known in Thailand. How about in other countries? I really want to hear from other countries' perspective too, actually. Anyway, so the second strength is that it pulls MTG out of the boring world. I will have to make a big parenthesis that in many of the outsiders' eyes, we just have to admit that our Jace and friends, our Nicol Bolas, our what is it now? Loot and the Outlaws. Kenan? I cannot remember the guy that has been in so many plays. The son of Oko. Whatever, yeah. These guys, they don't really pull anyone into Magic the Gathering. Of course, Hasbro has been doing their best to build the brand out of something, but it just didn't work. So now they decided that since they cannot create their own Mickey Mouse, why don't they just borrow others' Mickey Mouse? And it turns out to be working very well. Next, limitless gimmicks and design space. When you're sticking to only one world, in Magic the Gathering world, it's pretty tough to come up with something new all the time. But when you go to other worlds that is not really Magic the Gathering ish, you can come up with something new, and it's easier to resonate with the players. For example, rat counter in Fallout, some of the Transformers mechanics also works. Like they work with the double-sided token. Sorry, not token, double-sided face card. And in the latest set, summon in Final Fantasy, it really looks and feel like Final Fantasy. When you summon something, it stays there. It shows their power. It is very powerful, and in a few minutes, it is gone. Just like the enchantment saga creature that we're having right now. So next, it lowers the barrier to entry because emotional connection connects much easier than rational connection. I'm pretty sure we are all facing the same thing right now. There are so many Magic the Gathering new players that comes from Final Fantasy fans. It's just as simple as they love Final Fantasy and they want to play something that is Final Fantasy related. Lastly, of course, it supports MTG long-term sustainability, aka money. If they sell well, it is basically we're going to live longer than we thought. It's not like other cards that they are trying to struggle to keep their feet on the ground and like struggle to stay alive. But those are strengths. So let's go to weaknesses. Flavor dissonance. Sometimes you feel it's very funny when you think that when you're seeing something like Gandalf is holding a gunblade and fighting with Spider-Man, having SpongeBob cheering in the back, and having T-Rex in the background, something like that. It sounds funny, but it's a flavor dissonance. It doesn't really make sense when it comes together. Format fragmentation, so it makes people have to have a harder time to understand. From 2025 onward, it will be easier because all of the universes beyond will be in every format. But the one before that, who can remember? For example, what is the format legality of Assassin's Creed? Many people think that it's only Commander set. Actually, Assassin's Creed is also modern legal. But I know there are no Assassin's Creed cards in modern metagame, but still, it is modern legal. And then lower cohesion, because we're not getting Magic stories every set from now on. We do not get any update on how Loot are doing. We do not know how Nicol Bolas is doing in Final Fantasy set. Next, wallet fatigue, of course. Not only there are more sets nowadays, there are also getting more and more expensive. IP ownership and longevity concerns. What if someday Wizards decided that they want to reprint something from Spider-Man set? Is it going to be easy to reprint? Are they going to be able to do a direct reprint, or they have just to stick with another skin remake from that character from Spider-Man? And that includes even more confusion in the next point, is that there are so much more confusion possibilities. If you didn't follow the news, TLDR, basically all the Marvel sets like Spider-Man and any other sets in the future, they will have no digital counterpart. They will have their clone, but it will not be the exact same card. For example, I'm just making names up. The Marvelous Spider-Man in the real paper card will be something like Arachnid Champion in digital Magic Online and Magic Arena, because they couldn't get the license to do it online, probably because of Marvel Snap. But still, that's one of the reasons why I say there will be much more confusion. So what does this mean for judges? Basically, we will have many more new players to welcome. That is a good news. But on the other hand, we will have to be concerned with the current players as well. Not everyone is going to like the fact that MTG is going hard on Universes Beyond. I heard from so many players that they do not like Magic anymore just because it's not Magic anymore for them. And that is fair. They have been playing Magic over 20 years and they do not like what's going on. And that is totally fair. It's not wrong. So Convincing them that MTG is still the same might be necessary in many cases. The same in which way? The same rule set, the same gameplay, the same, how should I say, lore and flavor wise, even though it doesn't come as abundant, as frequent as before. Gatekeeping and inclusivity. So we have to be careful of these things. Of course, we are going to have a lot of new players, but the harder part is how to keep them. There are going to be many gatekeepings from the old fans. Of course, it just happens. It's human, but we have to minimize it as much as possible. So, like it or not, is just also about how proper the old players act to the new players. Doesn't matter how good the game is. If the environment is not good for them, if it's not welcoming them, no one will stay for long. So it's also our mission to prepare the environment to be as welcoming as possible, and be prepared for many new culture shock. What do I mean with that? By that, many cultures have their own set of beliefs and standards. For example, Pokemon players hate getting win from buys. Do you ever know that? Because how the tiebreaker works in Pokemon is that if you get a win from buy, your rating is very terrible. I do not know how they compute that, but that's definitely a thing in Pokemon. Many other TCGs also view intentional draw as cheating, and many other TCGs are shocked when they hear that Magic the Gathering round takes 50 minutes, because many new games nowadays, they take only 15 to 25 minutes per round. So yeah, there are going to be many cultural chops, and we just have to help them out. So judging with the new players, what do we do with the new players? We have to make them least awkward, like in the picture, as possible. Be visible, be proactive, because Magic is not an easy game. Players will find someone to ask about the cards all the time. If we are approachable, then the new player's transition will become much, much smoother. Be open to all possible loves and passions the new player could have. We all have our own preference, but we should also be aware that others' preference might be different from us. If we understand their strong point of each format, then we can guide them to the path they want to take much easier. For example, they might want to come into Magic the Gathering and play only Commander. That's fair. And we just have to help them out. Because if they somehow run into the stores that they don't play Commander, then they don't have anything to do, right? So if we are approachable and if we can guide them, then their life might be much easier. Be careful on how the new players learn, because there are many ways people learn. People might come from different background. If they already play other trading card games before, okay, that's much easier, because we can make a lot of comparisons from their background. If they play any role-playing games before, easy. Now, give them some analogy of the mechanics and rulings, something like summons that I just talked about before. We can talk our life as HP, something like that. If they're totally new to the tabletop games, maybe stop at basic mechanics first, since they need a lot more time to get a hang of how the game proceeds. Don't pour everything into them in one go, or else they'll get overloaded. Tell them who the judges are and what do we do, because the word judge can be very intimidating. If you never played a game before, or if you only play sports, for example, then maybe you feel like, judge could do something to me. Judge could give me some penalties. And that is not what we want them to think about us. So it's best to approach them that we're not here to give out penalties or cause any troubles. We are here to be a good arbiter, to be a good caretaker for everyone. Make them feel that we're one of the people that we can have their back on whenever we need it. So how about the old players? So first of all, we just have to make sure to encourage inclusivity. In the end, like it or not, players do not really like the same thing as us, but it still helps us indirectly. For example, even though you play only Commander, or even though you play only Standard, other players who play other formats also buy cards. And by having them buying cards, it makes our cards price in singles much more affordable indirectly. That's just the way how economics works. So there's no good reason for us to hate each other. Sometimes we can involve them into more rulings and discussions, which will lower the barrier between the new and old players, make them talk to each other, make them train, make them feel like one of them are the mentor and another one is like the trainee. De-escalate gatekeeping with empathy. Universes Beyond is just expansion. It's not an erasure. It's still magic. Same stack, same rules, same game. It doesn't change any bit. Magic has been always about multiverse anyway. So what's the matter with including new universes, right? Something like that. Some good, kind words can de-escalate gatekeeping from happening. Balance the preference between two sides. We always know who of these players are. We always know that this guy is like a walking encyclopedia. You just go and ask him something, and they will be very happy to talk about the thing that they were asked about. Someone who really knows about the rulings and would love to discuss, like Nat, who is also listening here now. He always loved to talk about rulings. Someone who is very friendly, someone who is a super teacher, or someone who is a party guy who just loves to party and create good environment. Promote them, promote these people, and they'll be very easier to approach. They'll be much better. How should I say? It's just make it life much easier for both the old and new players to approach each other. So, is there anything else apart from the communication? Then we just have to promote more casual events because casual events lessen the resistance to join. Be prepared to deviate some rulings if it's necessary. I have been hosting many casual commander events in recent year, and sometimes we just have to deviate some rulings to make things more sense making. For example, if I see someone who have a deck list problem in my casual commander party, I would not give a game loss to them, even though IPG says game loss, because game loss in commander it already means match loss. That doesn't make sense, right? So if you feel it's fair to deviate, you just have to do it. Sometimes we can give ideas to 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 run even more fun events like brackets. And in the latest event, we came up with a new trap cards idea. I can talk about it later when I'm done with my presentation. But basically, come up with some new wonky, funny ideas to make things more casual because having casual environment is much better for the new players to join and learn. People just don't come in, jump in, and then I want to be a competitive player. It's just impossible. Okay, if maybe not impossible, but very, very difficult. So another thing, be on the lookout on toxic behaviors. If there are any toxic people who loves gatekeeping, who loves trash talking, just try to steer them away from the new players, or if it's necessary, just steer them away from the whole community. Talk and train LGS staffs or even the owners, because sometimes the store owner, the stores are not really familiar with Magic the Gathering. Sometimes they need help. Sometimes they don't even know we can help. So offering them help can make things a lot smoother. Set yourself as a precedent so that new players can look up to, and this will in turn pull people in and make them follow you. Promote creative ways to play, not just the official formats, so that people can sometimes just hang out, enjoy their time together, which is the real best part of Magic the Gathering. Because Magic can be very costly. So if there's any way to help the players save the cost, you can try to do that too. I have, for my own store, for example, I also hold $50 standard event from time to time. so that it's not only is cost saving for the people, but it's also easier for the players to grab what is going on in standard metagame instead of having to go through all of the standard metagame at the moment. There's no way the people will understand how the Corey steel cutter is working or how Omniscience combo is going off, for example. So before I finish off, I also have to say the cruel truth that's happening in Southeast Asia. So I call it Southeast Asians DLC. Our region is basically filled with so many not so good stores. By saying not so good stores, I'm being very kind, to be honest. Some of you may not really agree with me, but it's a fact that we have so many of these kind of stores. Basically, what are the not so good stores? They don't really run as a real business. They don't really run as a store. It's just a player group. Maybe they're not really an MTG store. It's just a nominee for someone else who wants to buy MTG packs at the lower price. Or maybe they just open the store to get free promos or just to buy boxes in cheaper price. Becoming a WPN store is trivially easy nowadays, so it's hurting other stores to play fair games that are playing fair games. For example, a good store will run standard showdown and give out standard showdown promo. A good store will run store championship event and give out store championship promos. A bad store will just give those promos to anyone who buys them the most. A bad store will not even run those events. You can recall back to last year's store championship where the first prize winner is Urza Saka. I'll give you a very quick number. We have around 50 to 55 WPN stores in Bangkok, and we count all the events out. There were only around 30 store championships happening back in that season. Basically, what does that mean? It means that half of the stores are not even running the event. They just the promo doesn't just disintegrate on their own. So basically, the store just hold on to the promo, or maybe they just sell them away. So these are places. Why do I have to talk about this? Basically, these are places where it's best to avoid having new players entering first. Why? Because it's not really a store. It's not really run as a business, and they can get all the wrong ideas when they go into those kind of stores. Help promote the stores that you are confident they would take care of the new players well. That is very crucial. Or else maybe we are just creating another toxic abomination. And maybe now you're starting to wonder, all of this thing that I talked in the past like 20 minutes or so doesn't really sounds like a judge's work, right? Why are we discussing this? Yeah, I agree. I don't really think these are all the judges' work, but a big but. Let's be real. How much time are we spending as a judge nowadays? There are so much less premier events. There are so much less event for us to judge. So I don't want us to just limit ourselves to think that we're acting as a judge only in this Universes Beyond era. Like it or not, we're talking about one of the best chances for us to grow Magic community to its biggest point in history. Like now, Final Fantasy season, and there will be many, many, many more coming. So we just have to make the most out of this opportunity, and that is my belief. And before I wrap up, again, be inclusive, be open to all preferences, and we will thrive to grow limitlessly. Just not to get the wrong idea, I am not supporting Universes Beyond 100%, and I'm not supporting Wizards of the Coast. I'm not Hasbro's chill, but I'm looking things in reality perspective that this is a good chance that we are going to get many new players. So we just have to grab it. It's a good opportunity. So let's just grab it. That's it. Universes Beyond, it's not a wall, but it's a bridge. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. And if there is any questions or something you'd like to discuss, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know.